Sam will be joining us.
I'd like to use a couple C words.
Yeah, I think Bloods is probably happier than just using a couple C words. But you know what? Everything tastes a little bit better. Air is fresher. Food tastes cleaner and healthier. Well, maybe not healthier, but better after you win. Actually, Stars played a pretty decent game tonight, but that doesn't matter. They won. That's what matters for the first time after a 4-game winless streak. Let's talk about it. Sean's here. Luds is here. I'm here. Ryan's here. Sam will be here. Got a full bore tonight. Full boat? Whatever it is. Go. Hi, this one, not that one, this one. This is the DLS Stars post-game show. This is Luds. I'm Owen, and he is Sean over past Luds. There he is, right there. Yep. And this is the DLS Stars post-game show after a win. Ryan Vaughters is our producer. Sam will be joining us later from the AAC. Let's get into the takeaways. Luds, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Sean. How you feeling after this one compared to the last 4?
Well, it's a win. A win is a win. A couple teams that are missing some parts and pieces that had to bang around and struggle and scratch and claw to get their looks tonight. I thought Dallas did a good job. I liked the start of the hockey game, and again, people can look at that. To me, that was more about when Sagan and you get Blackie out there, and we'll show some hits from him. But I think that was more about not having the matchup. You know what I mean? Stahl comes out against them, but they do exactly what they should. They get the fans into the building right away, and it was Colin Blackwell with running around. Again, he's not 6'4", 240 pounds.
No, he sure isn't.
No, but he plays hard, and that's exactly what he did. They got minutes out of the guys that they needed to get minutes out of tonight, and I'll get it out there right now. Mikko Rantanen just impresses me every single. You know,
really
and again,
enjoy watching him play.
I just love his effort. I love his effort, his size, his care, his want. Everything you want, and again, I know he's one of the top players in the league, but he tries to bring it every single night.
Sean, what's your feeling after this one compared to the previous week and a half?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny that these two teams played this game, right? When a week ago or 10 days ago, whatever it was, right? They were the only 2 3-0 teams in the NHL at one point, right? And so there was, so it's kind of funny to see them play this game where it feels a little bit like I don't know, survival, whatever you want to call it, right? But I do want to. It is. It's kind of, to me. There was 2 takeaways. One, Luds kind of stole it from me when he talked about Mikko Rantanen. It's been fun. Like I've known Mikko Rantanen has been such a fun player for me to watch for a long time. I remember watching him all the way back to 2016 when he was with the San Antonio Rampage. I voted him for AHL MVP that year when he was a rookie with the San Antonio Rampage in 2016. So he's always been a really fun player to watch. But it's been really cool to kind of watch him on a night-to-night basis closely beyond just obviously checking in with Colorado. And, Luz, I don't know about you, but there's things about his game that with elite players, right, there's little things about his game that I kind of pick up on now being able to watch him in the regular season and everything like that maybe I didn't even, not that they surprise me that they're there, but it just kind of shows you like there's elite players, they bring new things to the game all the time, and it's really fun to watch. So that's one thing. The other part for me from tonight's game, and it's a bit of a kind of a microcosm of Miro Heiskanen's game, is you're going to get breaks both ways. And it's not letting the negative breaks early on impact you from doing the right thing and maybe getting things going your way later, obviously, as they did with Miro. And that's the other kind of thing for me where it feels a little bit resilient, which I think is something this team needed after the last 4 games.
You know, it's a really good point, Luds, because especially the Cody Ceci goal against LA for LA against Dallas the other night. He takes that hard slap shot in the high slot. It hits Maverick Bork's stick blade, kicks down, hits the ice, and goes completely. He has Jake going to the left, and it kicks back to the right as you look at from the shooter's perspective. And that's one where you go, what are you going to do?
Right.
So to take that and lose a game you probably, I think, played better than the Kings, but didn't come out with the victory in overtime, to then get a couple of good bounces, maybe that's as Sean is saying, a little bit of the hockey gods evening it out a little.
Yeah, and the saying is you make your own bounces.
Yeah.
And it's the work that goes into it. And the other thing I'd add, Sean, to the whole Rantanen rant is what also impresses me is for a big dude, the plays that he can make in tight areas and the little between the stick and the feet of players. His vision is, again, he's worth the price of admission. He really is. I mean, again, I don't see this guy slowing down. And then you also get, every once in a while, we get the glimpse of him coming back to the bench and not being happy about what's going on there. So for a new guy, played I don't know, 20, 30 games or whatever the number is here.
Mm-hmm.
So, and taking charge. So I'm going back to the whole conversation that we had about who wears the next C, and I'm slightly going in that direction.
You're more
whenever that day comes.
You're more into Sean's suggestion from last year in the playoffs than you were when he made the suggestion.
Yeah, I am, because every time I watch him, I'm more and more impressed by him.
So I just scanning back. It's been 27 games regular season, not counting playoffs.
Oh, that was close.
Yeah, you were very close. 20 games last year, 7 this year, and obviously the playoff run. Go ahead, Sean.
Luds, with his one of the things that's most impressive to me about him, that's been fun to watch, just kind of the little plays and the pass. I always knew he was an elite passer, but there's parts of him where I find myself thinking about the way Joe Thornton played the game, right? A guy that big, a guy with that type of vision, who's got some of those tools to dig pucks out and make those passes from. And it's not just the ones where he uses his length and size, because those are the ones you expect. For me, it's the plays that he makes within a foot of his, like literally within a foot of his skates. Those little plays where you think like, hey, he should be jammed up or something like that. Those passing plays that he kind of both the bigger, like the ones, the cross seams and things like that, but even just the little 1-2s, those are the things that have been really fun for me to watch. And at least 6 or 7 times tonight, I kind of made notes of that, of like, these are things that elite players do. And if you want to be really good at this sport, those are the things you would try to copy, because they don't end up in score sheets, but they end up leading to conversations like this.
And I just want to add one other thing. When you were talking, Sean, I made me think, because I was watching the Tampa play earlier, and Kucherov's back in the lineup, and he's another great playmaker, right? And he can make them same kind of plays. But what also impresses me, not as much with Kucherov, but when the pass doesn't work or the play doesn't work, it's over for Kucherov, right? Somebody else comes in. But with Rantanen, he wants to get it back, and he's going to try it again. He gets so many of those pucks that don't turn out the way he wants them to. He doesn't quit on them. He gets them back, and he wants to make it again. So, yeah, he doesn't know how not to take his foot off the gas in those areas.
Luds, when I was growing up and I first really got into watching the NHL was when Adam Oates was playing for the Boston.
Yeah.
I really liked his game. I don't know why.
Hully liked it more.
I bet he did, because his pass. But I don't know what it is about Oates. I mean, Cam Neely was on that team for Boston. He was such a power forward there. But I always liked Oates' game. But I think about Rantanen's passing like Oates. But I think Sean's comparison with Joe Thornton is probably more apropos because of the size and the physicality that he also brings. Thornton was one of the best passers that I think the game's ever seen. But he did it in a power forward's body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a lot of big guys that have that size, and they don't necessarily use it. And I don't think we're not expecting those guys to be, the guys that go running around and things like that. But for point guys, and that, I know it's changed a little bit obviously now, but those kind of guys are going to take their whacks and hacks, because the other team is, they're going to circle his name twice on a board and say, we're not letting this guy beat us tonight. But I think Rantanen's like, I'm not going to let you take it away from me tonight.
Let's go back to the first shift of the game. Now, we'll break all this down, but I don't know if you guys saw it on TV the same way we saw it in the arena, but there were 3 ooh moments from Colin Blackwell on the very first shift, on the very first few seconds he started it. Colin Blackwell had a big boy shift to start this hockey game.
Right here. We got him. Yeah, and again, it was about setting the tone to the game. It was about being upset about not winning, your previous 4 games. And that's what this was. And I think Gully decided that this was the best group to set up, and they were. I mean, the way that they set the tone for their team, more importantly, I think, and also for the fan base. I mean, you keep the fans in. The fans are always going here. But now there's a different level that it raises to. And then again, for an opponent sitting there, there's some of those guys on the bench going, oh, we're going to have to play this kind of game tonight? So, and it was good.
Sean, what'd you take of that Blackwell start to the game where he popped Mike Riley twice and then Jordan Martinook, who's not a small guy?
I think it's important against this opponent because one of the teams that you hear about, teams people hate playing, and it's Carolina is one of the teams people hate playing reputation-wise. Now, I know Carolina is always pretty low in the league standings when it comes to hits and everything, and that's more reflective of their possession, but they have this reputation of being the team that beats you up and they cycle you to death and they send a physical message. They may not be physically punishing you with big hits all the time, but there's so many little body blows that Carolina gives in their game, and there's a reputation around the league of when you play the Hurricanes, it's going to hurt. You're going to get you're going to take you're going to be drawn into a boxing match that you probably don't want to get into. And I think when you have a opening shift like that, when you have an opening like that it didn't have to be from one player, it could have been from multiple players, but when you have something like that goes out, I think it's a bit of a message sending thing to the rest of the group of we're not going to let Carolina dictate this game. We can play their game, but B, we're going to go and dictate how things are going to go. And I think that goes a long way just because I've seen being based in Detroit and watching Carolina play a lot of divisional games, I've seen so many games where Carolina and Florida is the best at it in the league, but where those two teams, they go in the first 5 minutes of the game, they just physically take other teams out of the game. Other teams just emotionally are basically wrecked by the physicality of the game, and Carolina just is then able to kind of get that cycle up and going, and the machine gets whirring and everything like that. So when you are not afraid right away, and obviously the Stars have some of those guys, and Glenn Goldson has talked about, hey, we're going to add that 1% of physicality every game as we go, things like that. Tonight is one of those, that first shift to me is one of those where you put it in the kind of the time capsule, the tape or whatever, and you're like, this is how Colin Blackwell made us 1% tougher tonight. When we look back on this game 7, right? What it is, or sorry, game 8, whatever it is against
Game 8.
The 1% we got tonight was because Colin Blackwell set the tone. And I think that's something that can go a long way. And the opponent just made it even more important, I think.
That time capsule would be opened up tomorrow morning at about 10:15 for me because it in the form of a video. And in form of a video reinforcing how we took time, space, will, whatever you want away. And again, they didn't roll over this team, but they took something away from them. They took some steam away from the way that they like to play, and it would be part of your MO about who we're going to be if we're going to continue to move forward. And I'm talking leading towards the playoffs because of what some of those things that they did tonight need to be in their game at the right time of the year.
If you guys are the coaching staff, the Dallas Stars, and you're in Nashville for a 6:00 game tomorrow night, which they will be.
Yep.
You put Blackwell, Sagan, and Ernie out if they keep that line together to start the next game and say, you go do that again?
For me, probably not. I probably lead Trump. I mean, I go with Rantanen.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see because let's see what they're going to do. You're forcing their hand. They get the last decision. They look at the sheet. And again, you're not going to go wrong with having Rantanen out there. I might even put Robo up there only from a puck possession, territorial kind of possession thing, so you can set the tone there. But again, I don't think he's going to change anything. Sam Steele had a great game tonight. Sam Steele was working hard, and I liked it when early on him and Blackwell got on the penalty kill.
I wondered if you noticed that immediately.
Of course I do, because I think they're the two best penalty killers out there. I'm not happy with everything that I see from Wyatt and from Rupe. And I think that they can save those guys minute-wise to pour it into everything else that they do. I don't think they have to use those guys in that certain situation.
And I noticed, too, Steele had I think it was on the same penalty kill that you're referencing. He had a shift on the ice before the penalty was called, stayed out there. And so when he went to the bench, I looked up at the clock, and they have the time on ice, and he had like a 90-second, almost 2-minute shift, which is rare for a penalty killer, but it was because of the carryover from 5-on-5 into that. Yeah. So he was out there for quite a while, but
it was really nothing like the Bichel and Petrovic shift.
No,
it was 4:35 or something like that.
Something else, wasn't it?
Yeah.
All right, we are going to do our full breakdown. We've got goals, we've got plays, we've got 2-on-1s, all of that coming up here on the DLS Stars postgame show. We'll do that next.
But first, I'm going to be ready for an ad read here, and we're going to talk about game time. And the Game Time app gives you the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. Earlier tonight, before sitting down to watch the game, I was actually talking to a couple people who were looking at tickets for an NHL game coming up, and they were talking about a couple other ticketing sites, and I asked them if they tried Game Time, and I told them it's a really cool spot where it comes with a pretty cool. I can just picture Sam Nestler's voice yelling, "It's game time," right? So but that's not why, just because of obviously Sam's wonderful voice and everything like that. It's incredibly easy to use. Game time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and the best price. Plus, fees are always included, not like other sites. So what you see is what you pay. So you pick an upcoming event, browse through, and you just can kind of see all of the stuff that works so well. Again, I was talking to someone. I didn't even know I had this ad read when Owen sent it when I was talking to someone earlier tonight, because I don't do enough prep that way. But I was definitely talking about Game Time earlier. So take the guesswork out of buying NHL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DLLS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code DLLS for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket. Go download the Game Time app today.
Thank you, Sean. Let's talk about Prize Picks. This post-game show is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season or this hockey season or this basketball season or baseball. They're all still going, which is a great time for sports fans. On Prize Picks, it's good to be right. What am I talking about? Well, it's simple to play. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats. If you get your picks right, you can cash in. And you can get it. You can play Prize Picks to get on the action for all these sports: football, hockey, baseball, basketball. More than 40 plus states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. And if you didn't know already, you can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code DLLS. You get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right. So we had that nice start with Blackwell setting the tone. However, it would actually be, inside the first 5 minutes, Carolina going up first in this hockey game. And I thought Dallas was okay to begin. I thought they were kind of keeping Carolina at bay. And then, boom, Jackson Blake scores. Let's break it down for us.
Yeah, right off the faceoff. And the guy that got pickpocketed, so to speak, was Petrovic. And it's hard to see a little bit here, but what Blake does is Petro's only got one hand on his stick. And what he's trying to do, he's trying to pull the puck from his backhand to his forehand. But what happens is Blake picks up his stick, the puck slides away from him, and then he slides the puck underneath Roscovian, and then he puts it in the far side of the net. And so it was a quick play, and Petro didn't realize where he was off the faceoff, no. I don't think. And then Roscovian is just trying to – I think he got a little fortunate when it went under Roscovian's stick here. But all in one motion, he shoots it. And so, Sean, I don't even know if you can see what we got here, but I have a circle around Jake's right foot. And I don't know, because it just seems to me this puck goes right in the middle of the net. And I just didn't know if Jake was assuming something else, like he wasn't going to be able to maybe pull that puck from his forehand or his backhand to his forehand so quick that Jake didn't get a chance to move over.
Well, I think part of it is the element of he's expecting his defenseman to take away more of the middle, right? Like I think that's part of the reality on this. He's expecting a little bit more help from not letting the cut there. The other thing that's just got to give a credit to Blake on this play is this is why when you to Owen, to go to the whole to steal a stalker term, Owen. I mean, this is gegenpress, right? Like, this is gegenpress. The best time to attack is right after the best time to attack is right after you get possession. And there's so often where like these little scramble plays and everything like that. Within those retrievals, how often, Luds, do you see players sometimes just try to protect and then look for the pass, right? Like, I love this play from Blake's effort perspective of, you know what, let's just go for the net and be direct about it. Sorry, the texting sound coming through is Sam Nestler telling us that he's going to come onto the show at some point. But it's like,
you not see what's happening behind the curtain.
Yes, but like I think so. I don't really have as much. This is a really good play by a Carolina player jumping on an opportunity, and I think it's also a little bit on a goalie in that scramble, expecting a little bit more help in the middle. So I look at it that way. But for me, this is more credit to Jackson Blake than negative on anyone else, I think. So.
Yeah, I agree. Since he's come into the league, he's a greasy player. Like, I mean, and I mean that it's a compliment around the front of the net. I mean, he doesn't quit on things, and he goes through people, and so, well-deserved goal.
Well, the Stars did a great chance on a quick pass for Miro Heiskanen into the low slot for Maverick Bourque. Good save by Bussi, who is playing just his third career NHL game. And Sean, you missed the pregame show, but we talked a little bit about his unique path to getting to his NHL debut with a team he never expected to be playing for. But then Bradley Nadeau, Carolina playing some very young, inexperienced players, hit the elbow where the crossbar and the post meet on a shot from the left circle. And then a 2-on-1. Aho sets up Seth Jarvis. Jake Ottinger came up with a huge save.
Yeah, it was a timely save. And again, and they followed it up again. But Jake looked much better to me tonight. And there was things going on. And with this team, there's going to be things going around the front of the net. But I thought Jake looked good on that.
Take a look at the 2-on-1 here, Luds. You did a breakdown for this one. What did you see on this?
Well, there's a couple things I'm seeing on this. But, Jake had to recover on this one here. What the puck? Oh, there we are. Here's what I want to do is I want to go back to the LA game. This is Thomas Harley, okay? And this is that 2-on-1 that ended the game the other night. But I just want you to look at the stick of Thomas Harley. I like it when defensemen, you got to find passing lanes, and your stick should go in and out of passing lanes. But what Thomas does, his stick is in a pretty good spot right now. But then at the last second, he wants to put his stick over here. Now he opens up a passing lane. This is how that OT goal goes into the other night, right? And so now we fast forward here. This is tonight. And again, to me, you have to be able to know where the opponent is that doesn't have the puck. And what you're doing is you're looking where his stick is, and your stick is in and out of the passing lane. Harley keeps his stick generally in one place. He doesn't go in and out with it. And the other thing about when you're moving your stick in and out and closer to your feet and away, the player that has the puck, he can't find the passing lane. But you know what he's doing? He keeps on moving his feet. His feet keep moving, and so he takes himself to a worse angle, a shooting angle. Well, this one here, again, he opens it up, slides it across, and then Jake comes across and reads it. I think this is the point where maybe Jake is going, this is Harley, so I think it's going to get over to the other side of the ice, and so he's cheating over there to pick it up. But it was a great save by him.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Luds, because on the second goal, which was Aho coming down on a 2-on-1, this time from the right side, I wonder if Jake maybe was cheating a little bit that way.
Well, again,
thinking it was going to be a pass.
But this is for me, and that's the question I'm asking Sean. But for me, again, this is Thomas Harley, because now what he's doing, this isn't it, but it's the.
It's the beginning of it.
Oh, it's the beginning of it?
That's where Miro whiffs on the shot.
Yeah. Okay, that's right. We're starting there. So yeah, this was a kind of an indecision kind of thing from Miro. So Miro has to recognize there's three guys here, and so he's going to try to keep the puck in. Doesn't happen. Goes down 2-on-1.
You want him to? He was trying to recover after he whiffed on.
Yeah,
you want him to bail
I know,
on
but
that
you
one?
got to be able. You have to be able to sense danger at times. You're early in the game. It's late in the period. You can see how much time is left here.
Yep.
You might have to play it safe. But here's what happened. Thomas Harley, to me, he's a left-handed shot. When he's a left-handed shot coming down the right side of the ice, he's got a better shooting angle. A righty's over there. Jake is going to slide more to his left. Now the puck is more in the center of the ice, so there's naturally more net to shoot at. To me, Harley gives him too much. He might be learning from the other ones. He's saying, you're not getting the puck across. I was going to
say, he looks like he's in a
that's
spot
Robo
to
on the
block
other
the
side.
pass.
This is what 2 goals in the last couple. One was Maverick Bork. One was Robo. What he does, I think that was Bork. Oh, no, that's Robo, yeah. What he did, he kept his feet moving the whole way back. So he took that passing lane. But Harley, because he's a left-handed shooter, he has to play him a little bit more honest, a little bit more in the net to keep him a little bit more to his right, as a lefty coming down that side. So my question, there it is, lefty shot. So there's my question, Sean, and I think we'll have another shot here. Is Jake playing this right, and is this just giving credit to a guy that just finds the hole underneath his glove?
Yeah, I mean it's a good shot, and it's I think from the
but
way.
Sean, just sorry to interrupt. This is what I mean by this is a good look at how much room Harley's giving a left-handed shooter to come in here. He's got to be more to his left. He's got to be able to at least to touch his stick. Has got to be inside that face-off circle on the left-hand side. That's too much room for a lefty coming down the right side.
Especially with the support he actually has coming back with Jason Robertson there, right? There's now maybe not to pile on to the other what happened at the end of the LA game the other night, but maybe he's a little bit gun shy after the lack of effort to pick it from the forward coming back the other night. So maybe there's a little bit of that intuitiveness of overreacting. So if in a perfect world where we can freeze it in the moment and move people around, you're like, okay, I'd like to move Harley over a little bit. But in many ways, though, I think Jake Ottinger gets the look he wants on this spot where the pass isn't going to go through. He gets to be square. And just sometimes NHL shooters are pretty damn good at picking their spots. And that happens. So
especially Sebastian Aho of all people, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking if you're Harley, if you're Thomas Harley, you're probably, I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
Yeah.
I think I play it right.
It's one of those where I think one of the conversations, I don't know if they had that conversation, but I think you go into the intermission, and if you're Jake, and if you're smart and you're picking up your defenseman, I think you go into the locker room and you say to Thomas right away, hey, give me that shot every time. You did the right thing. Right? I think that's one of those, especially
I would
where.
think so, right?
Sean's exactly right, because then now I know I have the confidence that he has the confidence. Because again, the whole point of a 2-on-1 is once things get below the top of the circle to the faceoff dot, you start to drift off to the far side of the net because you want your goaltender to have confidence to come out and challenge. And he wants that. He doesn't want to, and I've said this before, I can tell when a goalie doesn't trust. So in that very same scenario that we just saw right there, in that particular one, I can tell when a goalie doesn't trust his defenseman because he will be loading up on his left foot. In other words, the same side that the player with the puck is coming down, he'll load up because he's getting ready to push across because he doesn't trust that the defenseman's going to keep the puck on that same side. Yep. And so I think he kind of I think he puts himself in a hole.
Yep.
I guess it was the same thing I was.
Let's talk about the comeback, because after it was 2-0 in favor of the Hurricanes after the first period, and Dallas came back and tied it in the second period. First chance was Miro Heiskanen getting what we call amazingly, neither one of Miro's goals tonight was designated as an own goal, Sean, by the NHL statistics and official scorers. But I thought the first one was absolutely, since it was basically below the goal line and it went in off of Nikolai Ehlers. But Luds, if you don't throw it toward the net, it never goes in.
Yeah, and this all starts with his skating ability. I mean, he picks it up in his own zone, and as he takes off, I mean, he splits four of the Canes right through the middle of the ice, uses his speed. He's not trying to score this goal. He's doing the right thing. Instead of going behind the net like we see Miro get to that point, and he kind of circles behind the net. Nothing really happens. What he does here, though, is he gets down below the face-off dot, and he's running out of room. And this time here, instead of going behind, he just throws it to the front of the net. Hopefully, was that Tyler Seguin come over here? So we have that POP, puck off pad. He's hoping that it hits a pad. Maybe Tyler gets a rebound. But it's Nikolai Ehlers that gets there first, and as it's coming across the front, Ehlers is doing the right thing. He's trying to take away the passing lane, but unfortunately for the Canes, that one goes off Ehlers' stick and behind the goaltender.
And didn't you say, I remember multiple times last year saying, now he's a forward.
Yeah.
You would say you'd expect a defenseman to know to be facing away from the net instead of being facing back toward, trying to prevent.
Yeah, well, see, he's racing back, though.
It's hard to do that, right?
Yeah, and so I think from a forward standpoint, they're probably not going to get to the top of the circle and turn and skate backwards. Yep. So, but the one thing any player that should be doing there is you go to the far post and you kind of slant your stick a little bit. So if you go to the middle of the net, there's a better chance if it hits you, it's going in the net. If you go to the far side and you slant your stick, if that's what you're doing, you kind of tilt it more so that if I'm going to get it, it's going to go into the corner instead of in the middle of the net.
Sean, Miro Heiskanen's been receiving a fair amount of grief from fans and some of the pundits as well for his play so far this season. Does this help sort of not erase some of it, but make up for some of the what we see as maybe very un-Miro-like play?
I mean, yeah, it's you scored twice, and it's going to be, as I said, kind of in our opening segment, right? Like for me, it's the resiliency, the bounce back, right? Like we talked a lot about Thomas Harley on the 2-on-1 goal, but it goes back to Miro having the whiff on the puck. To me, the thing that I've always wanted to see more of from Miro, and it's not that I expect it to ever happen, just because he is who he is, and he's not Cale Makar, he's not Thomas Harley, he's not this guy who's going to be a heavy shooter, but these are the games where, and it's going to be hard, right? With a back-to-back, it's not like there's a coaching time or whatever. That doesn't really happen much in the league anymore. But these are the moments where maybe on Monday, if you're Glenn Goldson or Elaine Nazardine, like you go and you just have the conversation with Miro about like, look, you are one of the best defensemen on the planet. No one is disputing that. We believe that about you completely. But just there's times where if you just showed a little bit more of that aggressiveness, a little bit more, especially on plays like that first goal we just showed, right? Like that play, 99% of the time, it's not a goal, but it's at least more chaos for the other team. And there's so many times where he has control over the game. And you get that entry or that kind of clean zone cut like we saw tonight. And then it's just kind of he waits for everyone else to arrive. And I think there's times where other teams just kind of they embrace that, right? Like they wait with them and everything, and then the chaos around the net never happens. I would love just to see a little bit more in Miro's game like that tonight, where maybe you use that as an example, just a real time example with the video of like, hey, look, you have so much control over everything. Let's create some more chaos in the game. Let's do a little bit more of that after you've done that. And you don't really, there's not much time to do it with the back-to-back before you play tomorrow night in Nashville, but I think it's something from a coaching tool as you go through it sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours. You just try to look at how can we build this and try to work on, it's not a major tweak to his game. It's just asking him to do something a little bit more here that doesn't hurt any other element of his game, which are the best coaching tweaks you can add.
I think Miro sleeps better tonight. And I think he's going home feeling maybe my luck is changing. Yeah. And I think you come tomorrow, maybe it's a little more lighter in his step. And this is the looking out of the darkness, so to speak, and I see the light.
I can't wait to see the light when Luds talks to you about the merchandise next here on the DLS Stars post-game show. And then Sam after that.
I'm probably going to see that light a lot sooner than the rest of you people. The DLLS merchandise. Well, and here's the good news. So here's our 2 new shirts, right? But the even better news about how good looking they are, that if folks buy them, apparently our GM has said that
he has said this before. If we
might get some shirts,
a frenzy of sales, we might be supported by giving one.
And I made the stupid comment in the pregame show that if that happens and we have our night or afternoon at the Hooters, I might buy some of them people beers.
Oh, boy.
If they can wear them shirts there, proving that they bought them. So anyway, there's the 2 new shirts right
Luds
there.
Is offering
I'm offering.
Luds
there's
Suds.
a limit one. So anyway, my favorite is obviously the green one because it's got the little funky. I like the writing of it. Yeah. I like the cursive and the fonts or whatever, the funky stuff.
Yeah, and it reminds you of something too. All right, Luds, I'm going to take over because it's time.
See, I'm trying to give you some of the time I usually chew up.
Yeah, I like it. Let's talk about the Supporters Club. You guys have heard us talking about this for a little while now because it's no longer a brand new thing, but it's still, as we say, true sicko level stuff since 2025. But if you would like to be part of a extra special little thing on the live broadcast on YouTube, you can have your name, like Cujo Banjo here, or I Love Misty 1985, or Ardell, or I could go through all of them. Or, oh, look at this. Sports Guy TO's just sent 5 new gift memberships to Steven, JT, CC, Go Hard, Volume 5, and Samuel. all of you guys just got randomly selected to be it's just a great thing. Special emojis and, of course, all the wonderful little badging that you go on there. Have some fun with that. And we've got to do a new Supporters Club behind the scenes content video, I think tomorrow. And we have Mavs, Cowboys, and Star shows all in studio. It's going to be a chaotic Sunday. All right. Before Sam joins and Ryan, bring him right up when he's ready. Let's talk about the second Stars goal. Colin Blackwell draws a penalty on a breakaway. I still think those kind of plays when he gets behind the defender like that, those should be penalty shots. I don't think the NHL hands out enough of those. It was clearly denying a scoring chance on a breakaway. But, Bloods, I love this power play. Wyatt Johnston, Rope Hintz, then Wyatt got a point-blank chance. That was the best one there. Then Harley got a shot. And then, as this is part of the second unit now, gets out there, and this goes in for Sam Steele, breaking a huge drought all the way back to late February.
Yeah, well, it started with being a little bit more direct. And it seems like when Thomas Harley is out there, we're a little bit more direct. But it really started. Brandon gets this puck, and he gets it out. And I circled Essa because Essa is the dude in front of the net. So there's our guy that's making a difference in front of the net. And all of a sudden, Essa never gets out here. But I like that it's Essa Lindell that's getting to the front because he's not afraid of getting in front of the puck. He's not afraid of getting on top. What made the difference, though, was when Steele came in here. But here, remember when I talk about penalty killers and they leave so much space in that lane that goes to the net? Well, that's exactly what Carolina did. And if we had the look from the back, and we do, I believe, now this is just what I believe right here, Thomas Harley sees that corner that's wide open up there. And Harley's shooting for that corner, that open space over there. But it's Sam Steele, and he gets just enough of that to redirect that puck into the net. Good for him.
You saw that on that replay that I did. It looked like it was just going to tail wide of the post. And when Steele touches it, just tucks it back in. I don't think it was going to go in if he doesn't touch it.
I couldn't tell that, especially where that puck is right now, because I'm not just going just wide. That's going right in the middle of the net.
It looks like it, but I swear to you, if you watch it, maybe it was the camera angle, but it looked like it was veering a little to the left. Anyway, great tip in for Steele. And nice job by both.
Talk about getting the monkey off your back, right?
Oh, my goodness. Sagan loves to do that one. Grab the throw it. But think about that. You get Miro's first goal and then his second, which we'll talk about later. You get Steele's first, and then you get Sam, our own Sam Nestler. Nope. Oh, he dropped off again? Is he there? All right, so he is there. I was told he was there, then he wasn't there. Then he's taken off, and we're either doing Sam or we're going to... There he is. Hi, Sam. So,
hey, guys.
First of all, nice to see you in the post-game show. Let's start with Rope Hintz. What do you know?
Other side,
because
Sam.
he got absolutely belted by Taylor Hall in the third period, left down the tunnel, and I don't think he came back, did he? What's the update?
No, he did not. Yeah, he did not return, and there is no update. He's still being evaluated. So the interesting part about this is, one, I'd love to hear, Luds, if you think this is a penalty and how much of a penalty. But two, the Stars are going to be in a spot if they don't have Rope Hintz and Matt Duchene or Oscar Beck are not back tomorrow because they are short of forward and they have no cap space to figure that out. Luds, what do you think of the hit?
You know what? Like when I originally saw it and I'm watching it, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I will say that because, again, Hall's arm and forearm is going through the chest and the arm of Hintz, but I can see, I don't know how much shit they get, how the referees and everything, how much they get to look at, but I can see where the two came from because there's a little space underneath his feet. And generally when you're hitting, you're always hitting and you drive up. But again, the big thing, the crackdown now is when a player leaves their feet. But in fast regular speed, there was no call, nothing called because, again, you can't tell that. In slow-mo, if you're Taylor Hall, you're probably going, well, look at the hit. It doesn't look like I'm moving my feet, but it's clearly he does. And that's but as far as anything else, we even had a shot where there was no contact, it looked like, from his shoulder or his elbow or arm that was hitting him in the head. This was all body. So anyway, but he got the two, which was nice. Like, you can see how compact there that he is. But right there, it looks like he's elevating a little bit right here, which probably merits the 2-minute penalty.
Sam, you were front and center this morning for Logan Stankoven, as we talked about in our pregame show. What'd you think of the video tribute, the reception he got from the AAC crowd, and that whole experience?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I was hoping, like I said in the pregame show, I was hoping he'd get one. It's kind of that weird one where he didn't play a whole lot of games. but he was a big part of the team. He was a big part of their future, huge draft pick, all, along with Wyatt Johnston and Maverick Bork was their future untouchables until Mikko Rantanen became available. But he also, if you want to look at it that way, he was the trade that got them Mikko Rantanen, right? So he means a lot to the team, and he got a mostly standing ovation and was very excited about it. I thought he played well too. I thought he had a good game. He's been transitioning to center, so it's been interesting to see how he's played. But I did love that they did that. It was interesting because I wasn't sure they were going to, because usually it's that first media timeout. But then they went to the stick kid of the game, and then they went to the ice girls, and then I was like, oh, maybe they're not going to do it. But very glad they did. He looked like he enjoyed it.
Check out Sam's Twitter at Sam Nestler. He had a video from the press box of the center hung scoreboard tribute, and then of course Stan Coven standing up and waving, and it was a nice touch. What were your thoughts about the post game feeling? I was talking to a couple of guys this morning where they certainly acknowledged the less than stellar feelings after going winless in 4. Was there a more positive vibe in your mind after the game?
Yeah, a little bit. It was almost like, okay, we got one, right? But we know we didn't play great still. It was kind of a feeling like that in between. We got to win. We needed a win. Like this team needed a win no matter how it came. They could have Jake Ottinger could have made 40 saves and they won 1-0, and they still would have been, okay, we got to win, because sometimes you just need to get 2 points. But the other side of it that I thought was really interesting, there's kind of a common theme, was they didn't change their game plan after the first period. They thought their game plan and the way they wanted to play was perfect. They just didn't do it. Colson just said we didn't play to the game plan at all in the first period. So it wasn't like they came in and said, here's all the things we have to change. It was kind of just, guys, let's do what we said we were going to do, because we didn't do that. And Lee and Bishop talked about how without Jamie Benn, without Duchesne, Tyler Seguin, Mikko Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen, Esa Lindell, those have been the guys that have kind of stood up and spoken at intermissions when they need to, or when the team's down. And I thought that was interesting to see that the Finns, because we know the Finns as these quiet guys that won't give us a quote, but in the room, maybe they're still a little like that, but they obviously carry enough weight to whatever they do say is very well received. But the one thing I really thought was interesting from Glenn Gulletson was I asked him about, when the game gets chaotic like that, at points in the second period, it kind of felt like we were in a 3-on-3 overtime. It was just wide open, chance here, chance there. I know, Owen, you thought that Jason Robertson breakaway was going to go in, which would have been a perfect 3-on-3 type of sequence. And I asked Glenn Gulletson, when that happens and you're a structured team, Dallas likes to play a little more structured hockey, do you try to really get back to what you want to do? Or do you try to win the game that's in front of you? Because, you at some point you have to say, this is how the game is being played. And he said, we wanted to out-structure their pressure. So he talked about how them in Florida play that really high pressure, pinch at the blue line, jump up high on the forecheck or low on the forecheck. And he said, we just trusted that our structure would hold more than their pressure would get to us. And I thought that was really interesting, because they did show that a little bit, especially in the third period, and they kind of locked it down, needed a few big blocks, but they did clean up some of the things. It wasn't as wild and chaotic as the second period. So I thought that was a good adjustment.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't want to get sucked into playing the other team's game like that. Yeah. You want to stay and say, no, we're going to overpower them with our style.
Yeah, and to Sam's point, and play with the structure, and the structure that he's looking for is you're not going to see a lot of daylight to our goaltender, right? And Sam mentioned block shots. Dallas had 30 block shots tonight. There's only 4 guys, I believe, that didn't get hit by a puck. But that means that it could mean a couple different things, right? It can mean that Carolina was spending more time in that zone than we care to admit or notice. But the bottom line is there were guys that were paying the price to get in the way, and they're in the areas of that
Did you
zone.
Notice that they were more compact?
Tighter. I mean, again, we last year we showed so many things of Edmonton, the way that they packed around their goaltender in the playoffs, where Dallas couldn't get pucks to the net. So they're kind of taking a page, and Gullickson, he saw what it did. I mean, Gully's, he's been there. He's seen what it does. But the other side of that is you have to have guys buy into it. Not everybody likes getting hit by pucks. No. Not. Yeah. I know Sam doesn't. So
Sam and Sean, quickly, we have a couple minutes left in the segment. Let's explore the emergency situation. If Rope Hintz can't play and Oscar Beck and Matt Duchesne aren't ready, either one of them aren't ready to play because they have no extra healthy bodies, forward or D, what happens?
Yeah. So one thing that will potentially come into play on this, because remember, if you put someone on injured reserve, they have to be out for it's at least a week, right? So,
Yep.
um, the other thing that could come into play tomorrow, and it'll be fascinating to see how the Stars handle this. We could see the Stars going into an emergency roster rule situation for tomorrow, and if you do not have the cap space to call up a player,
Which
non-goalie,
they currently do
goalies,
not.
which they do not, right? I think they're you then can play one game with less than 20 players, and then you go into an emergency condition where you are allowed to call up one player with an 875K salary or lower until the emergency has subsided. So it's an interesting case where there's a very real possibility we could see the Stars dressing a lineup with just 17 skaters tomorrow night in Nashville because of where they are with the cap and how things have gone, and then being able to make an emergency recall for Tuesday night. So
And
it'd be interesting to see how it goes. So
and Sam, it's
Sam,
wild because Gully said earlier this week that based on the Nils Lundqvist IR, that they would probably have to call up another defenseman at least for the Florida road trip, if not for Nashville. And they can't even do that right now if they don't have enough players.
Yeah, Sean, can they put Nils on LTIR to open up that cap space? Because I know he's on IR, so his roster spot's open. But can
they
he
can.
go on? I don't think he's coming back within the time, right?
Yeah, I mean, they can. I know this
That's
is
the
one of
move if
those.
they had to. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the interesting spaces where they can. I believe they can. And once again, everyone I'm a broken record on it, but with LTIR, remember that anything you use, you then have to make up for at the end as
Yep.
well. So it's the other tough thing, right? With because I'm looking at their cap space right now at just kind of their level, like. It's if you go into this emergency condition, you're basically at the spot where you're bringing up guys who are making 875 or less. And so for Dallas, it's probably R2 Huru. That's probably where you end up based off the cap space and everything like that. But like an Emil Hemming, and he hasn't been great. He was scratched in Texas the other day, but like Emil Hemming, your forward prospect, makes more than 875. He wouldn't even be available. So there's other things that come in. There's like other moving parts in all of this that make things difficult. So.
All right, guys, we have to go to an ad break. Let's do that next. Sam, thank you so much. Unless you want to stick around for all the super chats, we will see you in studio tomorrow night for Stars and Preds here on
Sam's
DLS.
back.
Damn. Well, it was great that Sam was here. And if you want more of Sam Nessler in your life, and I know everyone wants more of Sam Nessler in your life, you need to get the DLLS free newsletter that comes to your mailbox, I believe, every Monday through Friday. It is your taste of everything you need for DFW sports. It's great. I read it every day when it comes into the inbox. It gets you caught up on everything. And obviously, we know a lot about the Stars, but I learn a little bit about what happens with the local basketball teams. Apparently, there's a football team that plays some games as well. You learn about all of that stuff, and it's a great. I believe if I paid attention to the programming plan, Owen's going to talk about some diehard stuff soon after me. But it's a really good. I look at it as a really good kind of like entry level thing for everyone who hey, I want to try DLS and figure this all out. Sign up for the newsletter. It gets you a good taste of it, and everything comes through on email nowadays anyway. It's better than trying to shift through all the crud on social media. So go to the newsletter, alldls.com/newsletter. Great stuff.
I'm going to talk about being a diehard. I'm just looking at Kayla, who's been a great diehard, or at least a great supporter of the show. She's in the chat going, I need Sam Nessler nesting doll. Like the Russian nesting dolls. That would be pretty funny.
In other words, life size?
Oh, very nice. And you can be a diehard if you sign up. Go to the QR code at the bottom of the screen that takes you to alldls.com. Sign up to be a diehard. You get so many great perks. Let's talk about some of those perks. First, you get access to all the writing. Sam, Sean, Ron, our new Mavs writer, Clarence, of course, with the Cowboys, the legendary Chill, Clarence Hill, and, of course, Jeff Wilson with the Rangers. They're in the World Series right now. Not the Rangers, but baseball is. Rangers were a couple years ago. But anyway, then you get a free T-shirt for your first year of your annual subscription of your choice, including those face-off collection shirts. They're very, very sharp. And, yes, we do events. You get 20% off events and merch. We're taking a bunch of DLS diehards or Stars fans to a takeover game in December. Might do another one later. So sign up to be a diehard so you get, that's right, that one's already sold out. Luds has already promised buying a round for anyone wearing a DLS face-off T-shirt. Here we go, Luds. Yep, man. I know. Here we go. That you know someone's going to be wearing one.
When's that over?
December 7th. It's already sold. Yep. All right. Let's do the final breakdown, and then we've got a whole mess of super chats, so we got to rattle through these. So it's 2-2. Let's just a couple quick ones. Sam Steele had a 2-on-1 with Rantanen. I didn't like. I know Rantanen is his pass first guy. I wish that he had shot that because Steele kind of took himself wider, so he got the one-timer off. But I want Mikko Rantanen to fire that puck. But that was fine. It was 2-2 at the time. Robo had a great chance in the crease. Then you have a couple more. Robertson obviously had the breakaway right after Svechnikov missed that. It was Martinook threw it right through the crease.
When he fell into the net and it somehow didn't hit him and go in.
Somehow he didn't score, and then Robo goes the other way on the breakaway, and Bussi made a nice save. Go to the third period. We had all sorts of stuff going back and forth. Stars had a couple chances. Stankoven had a really nice 1-2 at the crease, but it was Miro Heiskanen and Luds on a 4-on-3 power play that got the Stars the win.
Yeah, and really, to me, it was right off the face-off. And Dallas wanted this puck. And what I mean by that is when this draw goes into the corner, a lot of times you see maybe two guys go in there, but there was three of them in there. Wyatt was in there, Robo was in there, and Rantanen was in there. And that's really what gains the possession. Obviously, they win it. And then it just you kick it back out. And again, from there, that's where everything takes place. And from there, it's just one of these little poke checks right here with the stick on puck. Keep that puck alive, and as Miro grabs it again and uses his legs again and starts heading downhill again, he decides, I'm going to shoot the puck instead of go behind the net, and you can see Robo. This is supposed to be going to Robo right here.
And he's ready for it.
Yeah, he's ready for it. He's got to stick. As a matter of fact, the way he celebrated, I thought he actually got it.
I did too at live. Yeah.
But you can see here, it ultimately hits one of the players from Carolina and goes off the glove and right between the legs, I believe it was, on the goaltender. And so that ended up being the big one. And there's Robo. It was funny because when Robo was out of there, his hands were up in the air and a big smile, and he went around, and I'm thinking, Robo, that puck never even came close to you. So anyway, doesn't matter. We're good.
I really liked the way the Stars packed in and defended in layers. You were just talking about it before the last ad break. Those final 3 minutes or so, or whatever the actual time. So the Heiskanen goal came in 11:18. Guess what? After Heiskanen scored, Carolina had 0 high danger chances. How about that? For 9 minutes of hockey. I thought Dallas played I thought they managed the second half of the third period.
Yeah, well, they were connected. Yeah. I mean, they're more connected, than they have. And again, everybody's sky is falling around here in the first 5-6 games, but it's going to take, and they're still not there, but they're going to get loose at certain times. But you continue to go, exactly. You continue to go through all this stuff. It's just going to become habit, and you're going to go, wait, there's too much space between you and I, and so I need to be a little tighter to that.
And the thing is that think about the thin margins, guys. Sean, it could have been Nathan Bastian is the scapegoat, not the goat, but the scapegoat. When he took that slashing penalty, taking Aho's stick out of his hands at 9:31, putting Carolina on the power play. But then Hall gets Rope hints. He gets a minor for it after review. And then Jarvis takes a holding penalty, and now they have a 4-on-3. If they score on Bastian's minor, they have the lead, and he's feeling awful. And what a turn of events over a couple of minutes.
Yeah, you've touched on a random note for me that I find very annoying is I very much liked when GOAT was a negative term in sports. Just that's me being an old person, I guess. Now, like I every time I hear people talk about the way the word term GOAT gets used, I think of Bill Buckner letting the ball roll through his legs at the World Series when I think of GOAT. So, anywho, it's I go back to kind of the Miro spot of it too. Like, and you're right. Like if Carolina scores there and Nathan Bastian's in the box, we're definitely getting a couple super chats in tonight from some people talking about how Nathan Bastian needs to be out of the lineup. Right, that definitely happens. But it also goes back to Miro's. The confidence is there, and you see this chaos, and Jason Robertson is creating a little bit more of going to the net there and everything like that. And hey, there's very few people on planet Earth that can outskate Miro Heiskanen with the puck on his stick, right? And when there's even more space like this, when you have kind of that 4-on-3 situation like we do, I want to see a little bit more of this blood in the water mentality from Miro. I want to see the spot of like, you know what? I am a better skater than you. I can take this space you can't. And I go back to my earlier point about the first goal, but it's one of those where I hope the Stars hammer it home and talk about it, because this team is a lot better if, you know what, Miro is going to add a little bit of that edge as a finisher and that ideal as a finisher. He doesn't need to be a double-digit goal guy. I'm not saying that. But if he can be that guy where he is frequently creating a little bit more of that every single opportunity and things like that, this team the offensive jump from the back end can look even more lethal. So that's where I can't help but think about that, because I really hope they push this, because I want to be able to watch that happen with Miro. I want to be able to, a week and a half from now, I want to be, even if he doesn't have any points in the game, I want to be able to talk about, hey, I'm loving how much he is being aggressive. I'm loving how he's creating opportunities for forwards, because he's taking that extra drive and he's pushing the play and creating some of those pop plays, as Luds talks about, those puck off pad shots. I really just hope that this is something that we see more of going forward, and just like glass ceiling broken, everything like that, for confidence and everything like that. So
I hope so.
I was just going to say, maybe I shouldn't now. Is the show over yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we got more time. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, Sean, when Sean mentions about Robo going to the net there, Miro probably doesn't score that goal if Robo doesn't, because that player's not there to block that shot.
Correct.
And it won't go in off of him into the net.
So,
I mean, little things like that make a difference.
All right. We have a lot of super chats. Probably going to have to use a little overtime tonight, guys. Let's go.
What?
Start it up. I know.
Bing bang. I thought that was illegal.
No, it's not illegal. We just have to make sure we do it at the right times. Let's start with I Love Misty 1985 with a very generous Oettinger and Ludwig. Couldn't super chat in Europe in the last win, was a couple weeks ago now, because it was the Minnesota game, because they wouldn't let me pay in euros, but I can finally leave another one because we finally get our first win since coming back to the U.S. Winners get super chats. I like that policy.
I think the euro's higher than the U.S. dollar.
You're our currency expert.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay, so let's sing.
They should allow you to pay in euros.
They should. All right, let's go to the next one. Burned Oils with a Lundqvist and an Oscar Beck. Could be a Brendan Morrow, but we'll stick with Oscar Beck. That was some hella saves from Hellebuck tonight, but in the end, it's Sam that wins because he's hella hot. Son of a hot Sam. All right?
Is that Katie?
I think Burned Oils just wants to hear the Hellebuck drop, if we have it off your fingertips there, Ryan.
Hellebuck, buck, Hellebuck, buck.
I don't know if he meant that version.
That's either one's fine. Let's go to the next one.
Bing bang.
Marshall second with a Lundqvist and a Hintz. And you've got to move your cursor. There we go. Just a little bit. It was blocking the words. Why are we having such a hard time scoring 5-on-5? I thought the system changes were mainly defensive. Thoughts on 5-on-5 scoring?
Well, the systems are mainly defensive, but you don't have all the bullets in the gun yet. And it's that simple. And again, we keep saying it's not the same team as a couple years ago. And with Duchesne out and Jamie out, and you know what I mean? Like there's some key parts that create scoring chances that aren't in the lineup. Jamie does it more by going to the net. Shane does it more, obviously, by setting people up.
John, hold that thought. I want to get a response from this, but we have to say thank you very much to all of our viewers tonight watching on our television platforms. Make sure to like and subscribe here on the pod and check out alldls.com. All right, back to the show. Sean, you missed the pregame show.
I didn't even get a thought to hold. That was well done.
Have a thought no, because I have a thought I want to ask you about. We were talking in the pregame show about the impact of not having Jamie Benn on this team for the first 3 weeks of the season. and more. Jamie skated for the first time on his own yesterday in full pads. That's a good sign. That means he's starting his ramp up, which obviously after a collapsed lung, he couldn't do anything right afterwards. Had to make sure it was at least a couple weeks healing, a very minimal activity.
Mm-hmm.
I asked Jason Robertson this morning about it. He made an interesting comment about how good Jamie is at holding the guys in the room accountable off the ice. That's stuff we don't see. And of course, we also had the conversation about how you have a new coach, and he's your conduit between the players and the coaching staff, and him not being available at the start of the year. I know it's better than later in the season. It's still a tough time not to have Jamie around.
I mean, before the season started, one of the things that when this injury happened, it was the whole, I brought up, we were going to see, I hate using silver lining, but we're talking about opportunity for other people to step up. And Luds is, for me, it's been, we've seen that with Mikko Rantanen. We've seen that with, we've seen that with some other players. And in the long run on something too that I'm curious about. Glenn Goldson, I remember him and I had a long chat during the prospect tournament when it was in Frisco there, and he was talking about how much he was gonna rely on Jamie as kind of someone who played for him before, and not that you wouldn't want Glenn to ever rely on Jamie, but Luds, isn't there something a little bit powerful too here, where at play because it's not going to come at a time of year that's going to cost them the playoff spot and all of that junk and everything like that. But like, to me, from a player perspective, I think there's something a little more powerful here for opportunity for Glenn to build that natural relationship with the rest of the team. It's not, hey, I'm just Jamie Benn is signing off on me being a good guy. That still goes a long way, right? Like when Glenn got hired, talking to Jamie's past history with him definitely helped with those initial
just like Joe Pavelski, Ding, was a great sort of fast forward when Pete DeBoer came in because of their past relationship.
Yeah,
well, and you're
yeah.
also learning life after Jamie.
Yes,
when you're talking about the players, and the Mikko Rantanens and Wyatt, and that's whoever Miro, whoever, now you get that sense when Big Daddy's not around, when he's gone, and whatever day that's going to be, here's my guy, because he says the things, and he can, because you're supposed to be that pipeline to the players. Your captains, that's the idea, is you kind of spread the gospel, you spread the word.
Yep.
And so you got to know which ones can spread it in the right way. And you also need to have those guys that have the stones to come in there and challenge you at times and say, listen, we don't need to go on the ice tomorrow. Like we got to stay away, or we want to do this.
You say the challenge, you're talking about challenge the coaches.
The coaches. And I don't mean challenge them, but be able to go in there, because I think they respect and appreciate that.
Yes.
We had a guy come into the room today and wanted to, like, dude, what? And just talk. And I like that, because you're not a rat. It was just about changing something on the power play, because they're the ones that play the game. You guys can sit back there, the coaches can sit there and look at all this kind of stuff, but they're the ones that have the feel for what's going on when they're on the ice.
All right, let's go to the next super chat.
Bing bong.
We are with a T Farmer with a Heiskanen 99. I'm all in for Miro get right games. Defense plays well, and there's a win. Who knew?
You just got to put one on top of the other. You know what I mean? You got to take the next step down.
It would be nice. Do you think, and I want something I was going to ask Gully, and I asked him about Jamie instead, but do you think that Gully's attempts to alter the way they play, especially in their own defensive zone, is at the detriment of the Stars' offensive style with the way they play? Or can this team still be dynamic scoring even if they tighten up in their own end?
I keep saying it. I think there's a couple pieces missing.
Yep.
They don't have the same chemistry, groove, feel about them. It's a little more sluggish. And you only can do it by loading up a line, right? And then they feel, I think, that by loading up that line, it may hurt the other two lines. So,
all right, let's go to the next super
Bing
chat.
bong.
The Stars at night with a Lundqvist and year after the cup showed fight tonight. Good wins. Still don't understand what Bork does well. Why has Bischel regressed to a baby giraffe? Miro responded to the noise. Sean, how do you feel about Maverick Bork right now?
I mean, for me, Maverick Bork is a player where I think before last season started, I was very high on Maverick Bork. And He's a player who I watched him at the AHL. I watched his game with Hockey Canada. I watched kind of his entire development path, and I thought this guy was going to be an impact gamer. I really did. And I'm not. I had such a high expectation for what Maverick Bourque could be. He was literally the league MVP in the AHL. He dominated games. He did all of that, right? And so I personally, and maybe I'm part of the problem because I think I definitely helped drive the hype train of it all. But
oh, you were the conductor, you were the engineer of the hype train.
Yeah, and so it's just been he's not been able to. He hasn't adjusted. He is a classic example of, you know what, the NHL is a really hard league, and you have to go into your toolbox a little bit more effectively all over the lineup. And I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I mean, you guys had a really great interview with him before the season where he talked about his willingness to play anywhere and everywhere on the ice. So I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I just think this is a young kid who has been so used to success throughout his career, right? And then he went through kind of the struggles in year one in the AHL, got it right in the AHL, and wins a league MVP award, and then comes into the NHL and doesn't really have the jump start he thought he was going to have. Doesn't have the jump start a lot of people thought he was going to have. And he basically kind of has been fighting through that wall the entire time. And I just watch him play, and I see flashes here and there. And I really hope he does become the player I thought he was going to be. But he's getting some of those early challenges and struggles that, frankly, he has to get through them quicker because Jamie Benn is hurt, because Matt Duchene is hurt, because who knows, it's the spot where if you want to be that player, when opportunity opens up like it has, you have to seize it, and he just hasn't done it. So that's
here's why, Sean, here's why you had hope. Because he was only getting spot chances to play up the lineup, and you saw a real small sample size. And now you're getting to see a full sample size, and you're seeing he's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to. He can't put them glimpses together right now. He can't. And the more he gets, the more because our expectations were up here.
Yes.
We thought he was going to be Logan. He's not Logan. He can't create like Logan can. I don't know what the difference is there.
You keep saying yet. Are you still holding out the possibility?
No, because I agree with what Sean is saying. Yeah. Because I'm seeing a guy that's getting the opportunity that he wanted, and he's not able to push through it. Now that maybe he needs to be in a different spot or on a different line, and that puts him in a, maybe if he played with Rantanen and Hintz or Robo, whatever it may be, that those guys can set him up and he may maybe be able to translate some of them into goals. But right now, wherever he is, we're not seeing it. Yeah. And we're seeing him play a lot, which is taking our hope down a little bit.
Sean, one last thing, and then we got to speed through this. But Maverick came up playing center. Do you think that affects it at all? Or I'm not trying to make excuses for him. I'm just curious.
Maybe. I mean, to me, it's Maverick is going through part of the spot where, and I don't want this to come off as a diss because it's going to come off as a diss to both players, but it's not.
So text it to me. I'll be the dick.
No. But here's the thing. Sam Steele was a first. Sam Steele was.
I didn't want to be a diss.
Oh, I thought he said.
No, you did.
Okay. Well, I thought Sam
saying. Yeah, but Sam Steele was a first round. Sam Steele was a first round pick, 30th overall. This is what Sam Steele went through all this, right? Sam Steele was supposed to be a top 6 NHL player, and now he had a nice game tonight, and so it's funny for me to bring this up right now, but Sam Steele had to reinvent his career and become a middle 6 hardworking guy that can maybe move up and down the lineup. I didn't want Maverick Bourque to become Sam Steele. I wanted Maverick Bourque to be the bona fide top 6 guy. And it looks to me he's going to be more of the Sam Steele in his career, where he's going to have to find a way to play lower in the lineup and maybe be a spotter here or there every time up in the lineup. But it's
middle 6 is good.
It's where I hope I'm wrong. I hope. Yeah, exactly. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Maverick Bourque, it just clicks the way I thought he would, but I keep seeing the opportunity. I'm not seeing him cashing in, and that's it's been frustrating. So
Again, what is he? 21. Yeah, let's not throw them out yet.
Yeah. All right, let's
Okay, we're not
get through some of these super
we're not
chats
throwing them out.
fast.
Yeah.
I love Misty 1985 second super chat, a Heiskanen and a Ludwig. Oh, anyways, back to playing Toki Memo on the PC Engine. Yes, that's always one that Luds goes, oh, I'm perfectly up on whatever that is. Ardell, we already talked about this, but with a nice super chat from Ardell, a Ludwig and a Ben, this team needs its captain back in the lineup. I agree, and it's for as much off the ice as we were talking about as on the ice. Jordan had a Heiskanen 99, not to overreact, but Stars win. Go Stars. That one felt good. It usually does, Luds, after a big winless streak or losing skid to get a victory. That always makes things feel better.
I kind of like going back to the one before that. Don't know what you got until.
With Jamie.
Yeah,
I agree. Echo Spark with a, that was a Masterton and a 99 Cup here. I wanted to do a 23-96, which would be a Lindell and Rantanen amount to call out the play of Essa, so underrated, and Mikko, amazing puck control and setting up teammates. Good game to the entire team. Those two Finns, I mean, the Finns were all good, even Rope, who suffered a tough injury there at the later stages of the third period. And then Mason Phillips with an interesting one here to close our super chats. Heiskanen 99 Cup here. Great win, but not going after Taylor Hall after he runs one of your best players like that is embarrassing and pathetic. That can't happen. He was quickly attacked by other people in the chat saying that Wyatt went after Hall right away. Then the rest of the team came in. There was a bit of a scrum. And Mason followed up in the chat by saying, that's not good enough. I want gloves dropping in old-time hockey.
Can't disagree with that.
Yep. All right. We have another show tomorrow. Sean will be here. We don't know if he'll be on the pregame show yet, but we'll find out. But we have a 5:30 pregame show, and we have a 6 o'clock game, Stars at the Preds. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about the Nashville Predators this season. Have you?
We just played them. We're playing them tomorrow morning again, third time in a row.
Oh, yeah.
I'm talking about our U18s are playing Nashville. Yeah. There you go. So, yeah. No, I haven't. I think we've been more consumed with game at a time here with the Stars, to be honest with you.
By the way, Nashville has played one more game than Dallas and has one more point than Dallas. They are 4-3-2 so far on the season. 3-1-1 at home, 1-2-1 on the road. Sean, I know that I've seen stuff lately about things haven't really worked out continually this year with Steven Stamkos and the Preds, and there's some rumblings and grumblings out there, but the big thing is I think the injury to Roman Josi, which is a real shame for such a great player and their captain.
Well, I think the other thing is Barry Trotz has learned quite quickly that there's a different skill between building a team and coaching a team. I think that's another thing with how that group has come together. So, yeah, but it'd be fascinating to watch. I mean, from a Stars perspective for tomorrow night, and we'll talk more about in the pregame. But I want to see how good teams take momentum and they win in tough opportunities. And I want to see how the Stars do that tomorrow night. Maybe shorthanded when it comes to the roster. We'll see what happens with everything.
Players, yep.
Yeah, so I want to see that. So,
all right. For Sean Shapiro, for Sam Nestler at the AAC, Sam will be in studio tomorrow, we think. We have Craig Ludwig here. We have our producer, Ryan Vodders. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thank you to everybody who joined us tonight. Thanks for our super chats. 5:30 pregame show, 6 o'clock game. We'll do the postgame show as well afterwards, right here on DLS. Don't forget, like, subscribe, sign up to be a diehard. Get those new shirts. Luds really wants one of the new green ones, so help him out. And thank you for watching.
Rock me like a hurricane.
We all silly like the mayor.